so much. That is our first piece, Loch Lomond. It's an arrangement of the Scottish folk song. When we were rehearsing that, we did a lot of work with the dynamic contrast and just lining up of our parts. So that's our opening number tonight. We now have a senior solo I would like to announce. We have one graduating senior in the choral program, Brandon Harris, who is right here. He is going to sing a senior solo performance for you. I'm going to set something up for him real quickly, and then we'll get going with that.
Let's go, Brandon.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got, if not himself? Then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the role and did it my way.
on the balance and the tone of our performance. Our last piece is called Windy Nights. It is also using the lyrics of the poem. This one is by Robert Louis Stevenson. It was set to music, and we worked a lot on our tempo, dynamics, and rhythm precision in this one. So thank you so much for listening to the high school portion of the program. We're going to perform our last piece for you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeffrey Sheldon. I am the middle school music instructor here at Lunenburg Middle High School. And the ensemble that you see before you is just a portion of the larger group that you will see in a few seconds. So this is the 6th grade portion of our 6, 7, 8 combined choir. They have worked their butts off so much so that I had enough time with them to add a kind of solo song for just the 6th grade. This piece is entitled The Moon. I hope you enjoy it.
The moon.
join us, I'll introduce this next tune. This piece is called Kantar. It is one of the 2 pieces that we're going to be taking actually next week on June 5th to Music Festival Adjudication at Nashua High School South. And then as a treat for all the hard work that they've done, after we get adjudicated and basically critiqued on how well we've been doing in those 2 pieces that you're about to hear, we then get to go to Canopy Lake Park, which I'm sure is not at all the reason that they like going. But it's good. It's good. Whatever gets them there and getting them critiqued and by somebody other than me all the time. So this next piece, Kantar, I hope you enjoy. So the next combined choir piece that we're taking to adjudication is called Murasame, which is translated in Japanese as the Mist of Evening. It is an 11th century Japanese poem that has been set to music by Victor Johnson. Really beautiful tune. There's 3-part harmonies, which is quite advanced work, and these fine people have been doing an amazing job at every single rehearsal. I hope you enjoy Murasame.
Murasame no
All right, the next piece we're going to be doing is probably one that most of you have probably heard at this point in time. And the movie has just made the musical so much bigger than it has been. It was already big. So this is the song Popular from the musical Wicked. And it's going to be featuring two amazing singers, Lydia Hopi and where's Perla Brivas. So they're going to split the solo at the beginning, and then the choir will add in. I hope you enjoy Popular.
Whenever I see someone less fortunate than I, and let's face it, who isn't less fortunate than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face, don't worry, I'm determined to succeed. All my life, and yes indeed, you will be popular. You're gonna be popular. I'll teach you the proper chords when you talk to boys, the ways to flirt and fun. I'll show you what shoes to wear, how to fix your hair, everything that really counts to be popular. I'll help you be popular. You'll hang with the right cohorts, you'll be good at sports, listening you've got to know. So let's start, 'cause you've got an awfully long way to go. Don't be offended by my frank analysis. Think of it as personality dialysis. And I've chosen to become a palaces. You're an advisor, there's nobody wiser. Not when it comes to popular. I know about popular. And with an assist from me to be who you'll be, instead of doing who you were, are. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming popular. Lord. La, 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 la. We're gonna make you popular. I know you protest your disinterest. I know with destiny you're gonna bring very good popularity. La, 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 la. You'll be popular, just not quite as popular as me.
Give it up for Lydia and Perla one more time. Amazing. And since this is the last song, let's take a bow as a choir, shall we? Let's take a bow as a choir. Thank you so much. Excellent job. Yes. Now this next song is called Song for the Myra. It was originally by Alistair McGilvery from Canada, and if anybody's from Canada or if you watch that show Oak Island, they reference Oak Island in the song. So it's a song about Canada, and it's just absolutely lovely. I've done this multiple times because I love it so much. The 7th and 8th graders, again, working their butts off and absolutely doing fantastically everything I ask and more. So we threw another song at them, or I threw another song at them, and they handled it beautifully. There's a bunch of soloists in here, so for sake of time, I'd like you to just refer to the program as to who the soloists are. They are all printed very cleanly in there for your enjoyment. They are all fantastic singers. I hope you enjoy Song for the Myra.
Old men
I thank you so much for coming out and supporting the arts here in Lunenburg. There is never a more important time than now to do so. So I thank you so very much. Please get involved with the music aiders. They can always need more help, whether that's financially or just physically. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate teaching your students. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And for those of you sticking around for the band performance, we're in for a heck of a ride. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening. We're going to get the thank yous going a little bit before 7, so we can start right on the dot. My name is Jeffrey Sheldon. I am the music teacher here at the Lunenburg Middle High School, one of them. I primarily do middle school, 6th through 8th, but I also have been co-teaching with Sarah McGregor, the high school instructor, the concert band. Now, what you see before you is absolutely epic, and I want to thank Mr. Anthony Ballister, the 5th grade band director, for helping put this on. This is going to be amazing. I cannot wait. Just look at all the humans on stage right now. We don't even have enough seats in the music program to fit everything. This is epic. The program is alive and well. Now, we're going to start off the piece with, or excuse me, start off the program with a piece called Mechanical Monsters by Randall Standridge. Was that? Oh my gosh. Absolutely. So as the 7th through high school gets kind of seated, I wanted to quickly introduce the ensemble that you see before you. So this is the 6th grade concert band. They rehearse Monday, Wednesday, Fridays on their own, separate from upper grades. And they have been doing an absolutely phenomenal job. And it was just kind of so much fun to have them already be in band in 5th grade and coming on up to me with skills and knowledge already, and hopefully we can keep that going. Please and thank you. So what we're going to do first is a march. Traditionally, as many concert bands sort of repertoire is, it's more or less from military backgrounds, because oftentimes we pull from the history of what the band originally was kind of formed as. And military was one of the main reasons that when ensembles were around and a thing. and marches, obviously, the bread and butter of any military band. So this band march is called Colonial March. I hope you enjoy. It features the clarinet section, as well as a little bit of what's called a dogfight, which is a very famous section of the march, where one section is fighting against the other, much like in a World War I aerial battle, hence the name. I hope you enjoy Colonial March. The last piece on the concert, in the 6th grade portion of the concert, I should say, I have to read the score, it's a lot of alliteration. The dreaded, devious, diabolical, dotted dragon. Basically what that's alluding to is one of the rhythms that is so repetitive throughout this piece, and it also kind of sounds like a lumbering dragon. I hope you enjoy the dreaded, devious, diabolical, dotted dragon. Say that 5 times fast.
Here's the high school band. for you tonight is called The Seal Lullaby. It's by Eric Whitaker. This is an arrangement that was arranged for this specific ensemble, not for this ensemble, but it's a arrangement that was arranged for an ensemble that could be used with many different instruments. We have Emma Barushian over here, who is going to be playing piano for us, which is super exciting. While we were working on this piece, we were working on balance of parts and phrasing, shaping and phrasing. It's a very lyrical piece, and it's a really pretty piece, so I hope you enjoy it. So here's our next piece. It is called The Grand Tetons. In this piece, we worked with some mixed meters, alignment of articulations, and some dynamic contrast. We've done a lot of really good work on this, also lining up our rhythms together to play as an ensemble and communicate this really cool piece of depicting the Grand Tetons. So I hope you enjoy this next one.
as they're finalizing getting settled. Hello again. So the group that you see before you is the 7-8 portion of our 7 through 12 combined band here in Lunenburg. They have basically, since I've known them as 6th graders, without fail, have been challenging me as an educator in giving them enough pieces and enough challenging pieces to adequately basically rise to their ability level. And this year is no different. In fact, I had a full program already, and you're going to see that full program next after Terracotta for them. But they were doing so well with said program that I said, hey, you know what, let's throw on another piece, and they handled it beautifully. So this next piece, Terracotta Warriors, is basically Scott Watson, who composed this, his idea of what the Terracotta Warriors of China, those very famous art sculptures, what would happen if they kind of came to life. So you'll hear marching, in fact, you'll even hear a marching machine, which is a very rare kind of percussion instrument that Ireland David's going to play. You'll hear that, and we'll hear some stomping and things like that as well. And what you'll also hear is kind of alluding to a Chinese wood flute, which is going to be the recorder played by these two ladies up here, Cece Clark and Emma Herrick. And yeah, the applause was tepid. You're like, wait, recorder? That instrument you give to torture 3rd grade parents? No, they play it beautifully. I can't wait to show you. So, here's Terracotta Warriors. I think the percussion, I've vamped enough. We're good? We're ready? Good? Okay. Enjoy the 7-8 portion of Terracotta Warriors. to join the 7th and 8th graders to form our 7th through 12 ensemble. I want to introduce the next piece, them basses. This piece is near and dear to my heart, and there's sometimes songs that are really meaningful to the conductor more than the student necessarily, and this is one of those cases, hopefully at first, and then they've grown to like it as much as I have. G.F. Hafine, the guy who made them basses, was a local who lived 20 minutes away from where I grew up. And my local community band would always play it in honor of that local tradition. It's a very famous march, and I talked to them about this and I told them why I picked it as a march. And it's not been their favorite because it's hard, and hard is hard, but I think they've enjoyed the process, and I know I have in sharing this piece that I love so much with them. So I hope you guys enjoy them basses, which is going to feature, you guessed it, comes to concert band repertoire, and it's basically his musical coping mechanism with the struggle that he personally went through when COVID was occurring. And out of it sprung this just amazing work. And you're going to hear his kind of vacillation between just anger at the whole situation and anger at something you can't control, it's out of your control, and just absolute utter sadness as well as, and I feel like many of us in this room kind of felt those kind of same emotions at one point or another from one degree to the next. So this is one of the two pieces that the 7 through 12 band is going to take to adjudication at a music festival this next Thursday at Nashua High School South. And as I said in the chorus concert, as a treat afterwards, we get to go to Canopy Lake Park because it's right around the corner, which I'm sure is not the reason that they wanted to go, right? They wanted to be adjudicated and critiqued. But this, along with Across the Northern Sky, which will feature some antiphonal brass, which means basically trumpet and trombones in the corners, are our two pieces we're going to be taking, and I hope you enjoy both of them. After Across the Northern Sky has been completed, there will be a 5 to 10 minute intermission, but I'm too scared to turn the lights back on, so please don't trip around. Can't get it back. I know I can't get it back. So I hope you enjoy the last two pieces of this section of the concert. Great solo. Excellent job by all. So the second to last ensemble that you see before you is the 6th grade exploratory jazz band. They are a group of 6th graders who wanted to take the leap into that which we call jazz and all the other genres and subgenres associated with it, such as rock and things like that. So there are interspersed with our LMHS jazz members, some 6th graders you might notice, and they've done an absolutely fantastic job in just diving in headfirst into this jazz genre. It is tough. It is not easy with all the different swing rhythms and things like that. The first piece, if you've ever been to New Orleans, you've probably heard it before. It is Second Line. It is like the city's anthem, and they use it for funeral parades. When the person that they have buried has been solemnly, put to rest for the final time, they then come back to where they came from, partying and celebrating the life that that person had lived. And this is one of the tunes that they do that with. It will feature a bunch of soloists, and they go quick, so I won't say all of them. It's all the 6th grade plus a few. But it goes quick. So I hope you enjoy. Second line. So that piece was Lock It in a Pocket, similar in form to Second Line, where the improvisationalists, which is exactly what they were doing, if you guys were aware, they were making up the notes on the spot using some tips and tricks and things that we've been working through in rehearsals. They were trading fours, so basically trying to have a conversation with each other back and forth. So that was kind of why I was pairing up the individuals in the group. Our last tune is a rock tune called Rock Hero by Victor Lopez. I hope you enjoy the last 6th grade exploratory song. So you may notice some older, not high school looking individuals in the ensemble. So one of them, some of you may know, that it's Anthony Ballister. He is the Turkey Hill music instructor here at Lunenburg. And he's going to be playing tenor sax 2 to kind of fill out the ensemble. And then Mr. Danny Walker is one of our after-school lesson instructors. He is the low brass specialist, and he is going to be filling out trombone 2. So just to make the ensemble a little bit more authentic for all involved. There's no ringer being brought in kind of situation. It's literally to fill out the ensemble, and they were happily willing to join the fun. So this first piece you probably have heard. It's called Give Me Some Love, and I hope you enjoy. As with any solid jazz curriculum, one needs to always include a little bit of opportunity for improvisation, and it's just grained into what the genre is and all the subgenres around it. So Blues and Haas Flat is kind of our experimentation lab when it comes to improvisation. So it'll feature a bunch of solos. It's a quick tune, and I hope you enjoy their take on Blues and Haas Flat by Count Basie. Going back to New Orleans for a quick second, this is by Troy Anders, otherwise known as Trombone Shorty. He is an artist who has crossed genres to basically add funk and rock and all of that back into his New Orleans style jazz. This song is called Back in Town, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much. It's been a fantastic evening of music making by some wonderful student musicians. I hope you've enjoyed. To end on a Memorial Day-esque theme, we have American Patrol. I hope you enjoy the Glenn Miller Classic.
Thank you.